Good day, everyone. A warm welcome to today's online meetup on good practices and challenges of tourism in historic urban centers. My name is Miltiadis Lazoglu. I'm a Doctor Urban and Regional Planner and also coordinator of ELET, Ελληνική Εταιρεία Περιβάλλοντος και Πολιτισμού. Today I have the honor of moderating the event, but before passing the floor to our speakers for their brief opening greetings, I would like to emphasize in a very important rule for the smooth running of our meeting. Each speaker has strictly 10 minutes. I repeat, 10 minutes. I kindly ask all our guests to respect this time so we can ensure sufficient time for the open discussion at the end. Let's begin with the opening greetings, and first I give the floor to the president of Ελληνική Εταιρεία Περιβάλλοντος και Πολιτισμού, Society for the Environment and Cultural Heritage, Mrs. Lydia Karas. Mrs. Karas.
Thank you, Miltiadis. You will be pleased to hear that I will be much shorter than 10 minutes. I just want to welcome everybody to this important get-together, and thank you for joining. It is important because for the first time, in a coordinated way, not to say in a slightly aggressive way, so much of the landscapes of many countries in Europe are at threat and are at risk because huge funds from real estate companies who admire the beauty of the seascapes and other sites, they basically want to buy, do some major hotel, do lots of villas, swimming pools, and so that, completely disrespecting the landscapes, the traditions of each country. And they do that because there is now an incredible increase of tourism in many parts of European countries, especially the historic places, the historic cities, historic villages. The more historic, the more fascinated people are and they want to visit, but rendering the life of local people unlivable. So I think it's very important that in the context of Europa Nostra and the Athens Hub, we all have the opportunity to listen to so many expert voices and see how we can go for a balanced development. What are the measures that should be taken by government? What is the right way, in other words? So with this, I just want to thank you once more for joining us. Our organization has been working for 53 years now, protecting landscapes, historic cities, villages, seascapes, monuments, doing things for education. It is lots and lots of volunteers, some of them you will hear them today. So I wish you good luck to today's presentations, and they will all end up with in Athens in November in a major conference, a major European conference that will take place in Athens on all these issues you will have discussed. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Karas. Next, the floor goes to Professor Eleni Maestru, Emeritus Professor of the National Technical University of Athens and President of the Architectural Heritage Council of Ελληνική Εταιρεία.
Thank you, Miltiadis. I will say a few words, me too, as I am the scientific coordinator of the Athens Heritage Hub. First of all, I would like to warmly welcome you and thank you for joining us today. Today's meeting is organized within the framework of the Athens Heritage Hub, which forms part of the European Heritage Hub. That is a European initiative coordinated by Europa Nostra and its partners. This meeting is the second one in a series of 3 regional online meetups dedicated to over-tourism and cultural tourism. Following today's discussion on the challenges and good practices related to tourism in historic urban centers, our third and final online meetup, scheduled for December, will focus on cultural tourism as a lever for sustainable rural development and the preservation of social and cultural identity. And finally, the conclusions and reflections emerging from this series of meetings will contribute to a broader policy discussion at European level and will also feed into the International Conference on Over-Tourism and Climate Resilience, as Mrs. Kara said before, which we're preparing for November in Athens. I would like also to express my sincere thanks to the Europa Nostra team and all our partners for their continued support and collaboration. And I would like to extend a special thanks to Anastasia Amanatidou for our excellent and close cooperation in coordinating all the activities of the Europa Nostra Heritage Hub in Athens. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Maestru. Closing the introductory greetings is Professor Vangelis Marinakis, President of the Council for Climate Crisis and Energy of Elliniki Eteria, and also President of the Develop and Tourism Development Athens Enterprise of the Municipality of Athens. Am I right, Vangelis?
Develop Athens. This is the development company of the city of Athens. First of all, good evening to everyone. It is a great honor to join this important discussion. For many years, destination management in cities focused primarily on promotion. Today, however, the discussion has evolved. Success can no longer be measured only by visitor numbers. It must also be measured by the quality of life of residents, the resilience of neighborhoods, the protection of heritage, and the long-term sustainability of urban development. This is something that also the city of Athens, under the leadership of the Mayor Haris Doukas, strongly promote through the Develop Athens. We have invested in the data-driven approach to destination management. A major milestone in this effort was the development of the first Athens carrying capacity study, implemented in collaboration with Gimis's Technical Office and the University of Piraeus. The study provided for the first time a detailed understanding of tourism pressures at neighborhood levels. Then this work led to the Athens Sustainable Tourism Observatory, a strategic tool that continuously monitors tourism's environmental, social, economic impacts. And the scope is not simply to collect data, but to support informed decision-making and help us act before challenges become problem. So I think our objective is clear. Athens should never become a victim of its own success. We want tourism to contribute to within the city. So I think it's important to have this discussion also today and similar initiatives in order to support cities like Athens or others, Dubrovnik, Valencia, Corfu, and more within these challenges. So thank you very much. Looking forward to the discussion.
Thank you, Professor Marinakis. We now move on to our first thematic session, which focuses on communities, heritage, and the social changes brought about by tourism. And I would like to gently remind everyone about our rule of the 10-minute limit per presentation. Our first speaker is Ms. Maria Bouzdeki, architect, engineer, and PhD candidate at the National Technical University of Athens, who will speak us about tourism gentrification and social transformations in the city. Ms. Bouzdeki, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Give me 1 minute to share my screen.
Of course.
You can see right now?
Yes, No, yes.
The main
yes.
presentation. Okay.
Yes.
Thanks a lot for the invitation. I will be exactly 11 minutes. My presentation is exactly 11 minutes.
No problem. There's no problem, Maria.
Okay. So I'm Maria Bousteki. I'm an architect engineer with a Master of Science in Environment and Development from National Technical University of Athens. I'm an author of 2 books on gentrification and a PhD candidate, as you said, at National Technical University of Athens. My doctoral research focuses on the early detection of tourist gentrification processes using machine learning. So my contribution to today's discussion on good practices and challenges of tourism in historic urban centers is framed through what I consider a dominant issue, the tourist gentrification and the social transformations it drives in with it. First of all, I have to say some things briefly about classic gentrification in order to give you the context. Classic gentrification is emerged in 70s in a period of critical economic transformations, the globalization. Neil Smith said in 2001 that what is globalized is in this process is the productive capital. Goods become increasingly difficult to locate at the specific production sites, and so the old language now of economic geography loses its meaning. In this concept, the national capital carries no significance anymore today, as the larger share of global trade is beyond national borders. So the spatial organization of production concentrates even more in expanding metropolitan centers, the global cities. So these cities now, then in the 70s, have to redesign as cleaner and territorially defined market agents. And here comes the neoliberal urbanism, or the new urbanism, as the so-called new urbanism, which is exactly the part of this broader rescaling of factions, activities, and relationship. And gentrification is the main strategy of the new urbanism, and become the dominant strategy of cities over the decades. The usual procedure of gentrification is that a neighborhood degrades and stigmatizes often. Until there is a gradual creation of demand and small-scale interventions by the state, until the full activation of gentrification mechanism, large-scale urban regeneration, infrastructure upgrades, and complete displacement of lower-income groups and their population by higher social classes. Now we have in Greek cities and in a lot of cities of Europe, we face a transformation of the city, into a tourist product, and the housing into a temporary tourist accommodation. This is a damaging development for the residents, and we are watching Greek cities one by one follow exactly this path. The phenomenon has a name and follows a specific process. It is tourist gentrification, or the gentrification of tourism, as it called. It is gentrification expressed in different terms from its first appearance in the 70s. We can see this phenomenon, especially in cities of Southern Europe, and exactly because tourist gentrification is significant for economies that rely on tourism as a driver of growth. Tourist gentrification tends to emerge where the purchasing power of visitors replaces the absence of local demand. So the Southern Europe is the basic example, and the cities of Southern Europe. We have three forms of displacement: displacement of residents, displacement of place, and displacement of commercial uses. The displacement of residents and commercial uses is directly linked to the intensification of tourism, which drives up the land values. The displacement of place refers to the erasure of the residents' place as they are displaced by visitors, a loss that is both economic and cultural. As a new way of life enters, which threatens to transform the entire neighborhood and its value as a residential space. Now, the process of gentrification is driven or accelerated frequently by policies that encourage the inflow of external capital into the local housing market. A basic thing of tourism gentrification is the rapid spread of short-term property rentals, Airbnbs, which leads to extreme commodification of the housing stock. Short-term tourist rentals have proved very effective in expanding real estate capital and in accelerating the gentrification in Greek cities. Closely linked to this dynamic is the Golden Visa program established in Greece in 2013, which grants residency permits to third country nationals who invest in property. So holders enjoy a broad set of ownership and mobility rights with minimal social obligations. In short, with this policy makes a specific type of gentrifier that is distant, investor-oriented, absent from the daily life of the city, yet shaping and defining it. Briefly, gentrification, whether in its classic or tourist form, is a deeply transformative process that alters the social, economic, and cultural landscape of cities. Everything it brings with it, traditional and tourist, means displacement. Means economic displacement with dramatic rise in rents and property prices, means erosion of social fabric because permanent residents are replaced by temporary users, means cultural and aesthetic losses, and means standardization and loss of identity because the city is turned into a marketable product. To understand the full process of gentrification, we only need to examine what has happened in the center of Athens. After the years of crisis, tourist development became a central project for Athens. Tourism can now be called itself as a gentrification process, as a key driver of gentrification trends. The rise in rents caused by the occupation of homes by tourists and the evictions carried out in order to convert properties into short-term rentals are contributing to the transformation of areas of the center of Athens and other cities, of course, in Greece and abroad, into neighborhoods of displaced residents. What must be examined within the overall plan, within the context of touristification or tourist gentrification in the center of Athens, is how the various state interventions contribute to this procedure. Programs and projects, including, among others, the Grand Promenade, for example, or the relocation of major ministries and public bodies from the city centers to the government park in Mitos, and the transfer of university facilities from the center to Zographou campus, are consciously attempting through the exclusive relocation of the city center to visitors and tourists and the land uses that serve them. In this context, we have a multi-layered, I used to call it Exarchia plan, because I think it's a part of a puzzle, of touristification in the center of Athens. Over the past 10 years, Exarchia neighborhood has been systematically degraded, after which development follows. This degradation was achieved through the making Exarchia of a ghetto. Its transformation into an abandoned hub of antisocial behavior. The spread of Airbnb into Exarchia also began during that period, when property prices were still low. It was the first time we heard of mass property purchases by foreign investment funds in 2017. And the so-called alternative tourism exploited in this area. Also, in the context of touristification in the center of Athens in general, there was also in Exarchia the planned metro station on line 4 in the square. That reveal another one contribution in completing the puzzle of gentrification. The result of all these is residents who can no longer move freely through the streets, and a lot of tourists move into the neighborhood and move into an endless alternative entertainment district like Berlin. The same process is spreading to other Greek cities. For example, recently I studied about Patras, and now we'll already observe the signs at multiple levels. For example, major urban regeneration across the city center, rapid upgrading of national transport links, more and more Airbnbs, rising property prices, acceleration of construction activity, gentrified entertainment venues, overcrowded cafes. They are all the warning signs of tourist gentrification. So it is a theme that we have, that I think we have to face it. And the only practice capable of preventing this policy, I think, is social initiative. As long as cities are saved by economic imperatives, the tendency will be to extract the maximum profit from space, which now itself is treated as a product. So only a countervailing force can act as a brake. Also, complete knowledge of the phenomenon and its early detection can provide the basis for effective prevention policies. And this is important because the research literature is now rich enough to give us all the relevant knowledge to prevent it. And other policies we can discuss about restrictions on platforms such as Airbnbs, and displacement policies, rent controls, or urban planning rules that guarantee a mix of residential, commercial, education, etc. Uses in the historic centers, and of course the empowerment of residents and the local communities to participate in decisions about tourist development in their own neighborhoods. So that was my contribution to this discuss. Thanks a lot for your time. I hope I was short.
Well, thank you, Maria. Thank you, Ms. Prosdeki, for that insightful analysis of social transformation. Mr. George Aferio couldn't make it today, so we have now to go to our next speaker, who is Mr. Nikos Triados, electrical engineer, to present on over-tourism and carrying capacity on the island of Corfu. Mr. Triados, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Let me share my...
You can share your screen if you want.
Yes, my screen, yes. Just 1 second.
Yeah. Nothing yet?
Yes, I know.
Okay.
Just 1 minute.
Yes, great. We are ready.
We're not there yet, huh?
You are ready. No. Now it's gone.
How about it now?
Now everything seems to be right.
Okay, fine.
Yes.
So thank you for the invitation and the opportunity to contribute to this discussion on tourist management in historic urban centers. I'm going to present the case of Corfu, a destination that illustrates both the opportunities and challenges created by tourism success. Corfu represents an excellent example of the opportunities and challenges that historic urban centers across Europe are facing today. Our old town is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and one of the most remarkable historic urban landscapes in the Mediterranean. Its cultural heritage, architecture, and living urban fabric attract a lot of visitors, millions of visitors, and create significant economic benefits for us. However, the very success of tourism creates pressures that may threaten the qualities that make the destination attractive in the first place. Corfu is no longer a destination seeking more visitors. It is a destination seeking better management of its success. Therefore, the key question is no longer whether we need more tourism or less tourism. The real question is, at what point does tourism stop enhancing a place and start degrading it? This is precisely the question addressed by the concept of tourism carrying capacity. We have worked a long time before on this concept. Carrying capacity should not be understood as a restriction on development. It is a mechanism for protecting development itself. When the limits of destination are exceeded, pressures emerge simultaneously on infrastructure, public space, housing, environmental resources, social cohesion, and ultimately on the quality of the tourism product. Corfu provides a particularly interesting case because all contemporary tourism pressures coexist within the same destination. There is cruise tourism, air arrivals, short-term rentals, Airbnb, etc. Strong seasonality, economic dependence on tourism, and visitor concentration with a highly sensitive historic urban environment, which is not very wide. At the same time, Corfu Old Town is not an open-air museum, it's a living city. It remains a place where people live, work, study, create business, and build communities. If residents gradually disappear, if housing becomes exclusively a tourism asset, and if public space is fully occupied by visitor-related activities, authenticity is inevitably lost. And once authenticity is lost, attractiveness eventually follows. This is the Butler model that is a cycle of tourist graph correlation of number of tourists here and time. We have growth, consolidation, stagnation, and with a big risk of having a decline. Right now, Corfu, we estimate that we are in the beginning of stagnation. So we have to be very, very careful. I believe that tourism policy must evolve to avoid decline of our region. For decades, our focus was in growth. Today, our focus must be on management. We no longer need only visitor attraction policies. We need visitor management policies. We no longer need only higher arrival numbers. We need a better relationship between visitors, residents, and the city itself. From this perspective, I would like to highlight 5 key best practices. The first is measurement. We cannot manage what we do not measure. Reliable data is the foundation of every successful tourism policy. The second is the creation of local tourism observatories. Permanent monitoring systems can transform assumptions, because now we have only assumptions, into evidence-based decision-making. Third, the establishment of carrying capacity indicators. Historic urban centers need measurable thresholds regarding infrastructure, public space, housing, environmental resources, and cultural heritage. Fourth, spatial redistribution of tourism activities. Corfu's inland areas contained important cultural assets, landscapes, traditional settlements, and productive activities that remain underutilized. Reducing pressure on the historic center is achieved not only through restrictions, but also through the creation of alternative attractions. Fifth, fifth key action, active citizen participation. Historic city management cannot be achieved without the participation of citizens. It's not solely achieved through administrative decisions. Long-term success requires public engagement. Today, Europe is currently searching for new models of managing historic cities. Venice, Barcelona, Dubrovnik, and many other destinations are experimenting with different approaches, not always successful. Corfu has the opportunity to contribute significantly to this discussion. It possesses a clearly defined historic center. It benefits from international heritage recognition. It has universities, scientific institutions, local authorities, and an active civil society. In other words, it has all the necessary ingredients to become a European laboratory for sustainable tourism management. The objective is not simply to welcome more visitors. The objective is to ensure that 50 years from now, Corfu will still be a living city rather than a stage set for tourism consumption. This is not merely a technical challenge, it is fundamentally a political choice. And political choices require vision, knowledge, cooperation, and courage. Thank you for listening me.
Thank you, Mr. Triantos. We now can pass to our second theme, which focuses on managing tourism pressure, where we will examine various European experiences and good practices. Our first speaker in this session is Mr. Álvaro Gómez Ferrer Bayo, Honorary President of the European Council of Town Planners and Honorary Member of the ICOMOS Committee. Mr. Gómez Ferrer Bayo, the floor is yours. You are muted. You have to unmute yourself. Yes.
Yes.
Great.
Micro and camera as well.
Everything is okay.
I share my screen.
Yes.
Yes, okay. Oh,
Not yet. You have to put the presentation in full screen mode.
Yeah, full screen.
Now we are ready.
Yes, but let me go at the beginning, please. I want to speak about Valencia and my city. Valencia has the second largest historic center in Spain after Sevilla. It's a Mediterranean city, as you know, the third largest in terms of population and economy. And his historic center is located 4 kilometers from the sea. You can see here the historic center and the sea, the harbor, very important. It has a major port that is an integral part of the city, and its harbor is currently undergoing a big expansion. Two major international events were held there: the America's Cup, a very famous sailing competition, and the Formula One, the most important motor racing event. Valencia is well known by his famous, this is the long beach near the harbor and near the extreme part of the city, this extension of the city. And this is the harbor, very important. This is under construction, this part, and this is the new building for the America's Cup and the old entrance of the port, of the city. Yes, this is very important also because he has a famous pedestrian circuits and races, a friendly path along a linear urban garden built on the historic riverbed. This pedestrian and bicycle connection between the city and the harbor, then will be possible when the last part of this linear park arrives to the harbor, because we need to finish the master plan. It's not yet finished. All of this, together with the City of Arts and Science from Santiago Calatrava, very well known, has placed the city at the center of the tourist boom these recent years. So we can share with you some problems of the general Spanish historic centers. Since the 80s of the past century, the conservation policy was supported and framed in specific protection plans well integrated into general plan for the whole city. Recently, a positive assessment of urban culture took care, in particular in the historic center, where citizens increasingly claim their worthy right to demand that protection criteria should be applied. The sustainable criteria for the historic city is submitted to the rehabilitation process, giving the opportunity to reuse ancient buildings for the new functions. Today, in Spain, all the historic cities are undertaking great efforts to preserve and reinforce their identity, trying to make more explicit their particular values and fighting against tourist pressure. This is a general situation in Spain. Even more strong when we are speaking about the harbor cities in the Mediterranean coast. What gives historical towns their character is more their urban pattern than their functional aspects. And we tend to identify the city with the historical center. For example, Valencia is very well known for historic center, but also for this new part of Calatrava works and the modernist part of the city. All values considered in urban conservation practice are urban structure, land parceling, building architecture, monuments, open spaces, etc. But we are all, everybody else agree that the historical city has a fundamental role because it is the link between the past and the future. So this is the old plan of the city. There are the walls around the historic part, and you can see now the aerial view, how this part has been maintained in this is the nucleus, the central core of the city is like that, with two open big intervention, this one and that one, that opens the city, the central city to right to the cathedral and the central market. So, what is the problem of Valencia? Four actions of circumstances that disrupt regional tourist growth. First, the frequent arrival of cruise ships. Second, an exponential increase in airlines flying to Valencia, coming of many European countries. A sharp rise in the number of hotels and lodging options with residential homes has been converted into tourist apartments, like have been here from Corfu and Athens. Located on the highway AP7, connecting France with Andalusia, Valencia was before the touristic boom a stopover city, never stops in Valencia, but today has become a tourist destination thanks to the improvement in its leisure offering, including in the waterfront promenade and a vast urban beach lined with numerous bars and restaurants. That is the situation. I show you some of the biggest. This is World Heritage, the Lonja, very important Gothic building. This is the rest of the walls of the city, the towers of Serranos. This is a modernist part of the city, going to at the end of the Baroque tower of the church, etc. And this is also very important because it's like in Barcelona, the modernist part of Valencia. Very interesting also for the people. Each day, a lot of people arrive to this ancient market that has been a leisure place to be there. That one is the center market, and that is modernist. You can see the modernist style buildings. So we arrive to the proposal. As response to this tourist pressure, several measures I try to propose in order to canalize economic revenues into improvements and assistance for the local population, and also for the development of the historic district itself. First, using port taxes from ship docking to fund free transportation to the city center via the urban bus network. This would reduce the presence of tourist buses near the city center. Second, use really the tourist accommodation taxes and fees to reduce and eventually eliminate the property taxes on the residential homes in the central core of the historic city, in order to maintain and to help the conservation of the local population. Third, cancellation of administrative permissions for converting homes in tourist apartments in the city center. If it should necessary, making the modification of the urban planning to have a legal frame. 4, a strict control over the conversion of historic stores into food establishments such as bars and restaurants. Prevent the city's historic center from becoming an international commercial hub. Fifth, complete elimination of souvenir sales that not bear the artisanal guarantee seal, with the aim of reviving and supporting both new and traditional crafts, especially those involving silk and ceramics, which are so characteristic of Valencia. And 6, training courses for tour guides to ensure they provide clear historical and artistic information, avoiding typical touristic trivialities. For example, this is the Central Mark, very important in the city, and part of ceramic historic place to buy some ceramic souvenirs, important part. This is also the function of the museums. This is the Fine Arts Museums, Valencia. And we propose also, as 7 of the proposals, the creation of itineraries to the tourist sites for small groups to avoid the presence of large groups. The city has several points of interest. We are explained here: Cathedral and Central Park, St. Nicholas Church, Museum of Fine Arts, La Lonja, this is a World Heritage Monument, to promote modernist district around the Column Market, the ancient towers, generally the palace, this is a Gothic palace, City of Arts and Science, the Calatrava, Natural Ceramics Museum, and the Patriarch's Church, Cloister, and Silk Museum and Garden remains of the General Hospital, Ancient General Hospital and Modernity Museum. So we expect that also Valencia has its surrounding very, very, very interesting, very not far at all of the city. And in fact, it's part of the city is this marvelous place, and this is a 7 or 8 point to go with tourist groups. And the problem is to repart all these groups in not being great groups, but only little or little groups, no, in general. We can explain after in the discussion all of these measures that I propose. There are, the last speaker said, there are political decisions, but we must be applied over with technical solution and financial solution. Thank you very much to participate with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gomez Ferrebayo, for sharing the insightful paradigm of Valencia. Moving on, I invite Mr. Ivor Ambrose, Managing Director and Co-founder of the European Network for Accessible Tourism. Mr. Ambrose, welcome. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I would like to share a PowerPoint presentation. If the last presentation could be extinguished.
Removed. Yes, I think, Mr. Bayo, you have to remove.
Yes, I closed, yes, excuse me.
You just close that one.
Okay.
Right,
now you can share
if I can find my presentation here. Should be somewhere close by. Oh. I have to look down the windows. Sorry, I'm not very good with Teams in actual fact. Here it comes.
No problem, take your time.
Okay. Can you see that now?
Yes.
Hi, good, thank you. Well, it's a pleasure to be with you, to join you in this get together for Europa Nostra. It's my first time with you and I hope it won't be the last. I'm from the European Network for Accessible Tourism. I'll tell you very briefly about that to start with. And I'm going to talk about making historic urban centres accessible for tourists of all ages and abilities, and why that's important in the management of cities and destinations. Just briefly, our mission as a non-profit organisation based in Brussels for the last almost 18 years has been to make European tourism destinations, products and services accessible to all travellers and to promote accessible tourism around the world. And we do that through our membership. You can see here some of our members and partners, not all of them by a long way, but we include national tourist boards like Turismo de Portugal, the regional tourist boards, and Visit England, Ireland, and so on, Barcelona, Cyprus, but also private organizations, businesses. And we work very closely with UN Tourism, the European Commission, because a lot of our work is really a sort of B2B, business to business advice to the public sector and to the private sector on how to approach accessibility for people with disabilities, how to make your destinations and your facilities, but also your services accessible to everyone. So tourism for all is part of what we do. It's really a phrase that we've overused it for many years, and we keep on using it because really we're very interested in making sure that everyone can participate in tourism. Here I'm just showing a picture of some seniors in, I think it's in Vietnam, all in cycle rickshaws. We're also interested in sport for all as well. So if you are interested in sand yachting, you can go to Mallorca and participate in that exciting sport. You may just want to visit the Acropolis Museum, the new Acropolis Museum in Athens. And of course, that's a highly accessible venue. And we're also concerned about people with all kinds of disabilities, not just mobility impairments, but sensory impairments and cognitive impairments as well. And of course, we're concerned with every tourist really who might be standing, as the two people here are in Madrid, trying to make head or tail of the metro system and how to get around. Actually, it's a very good metro system. So that's just a little introduction about what we do. And I'm going to talk a little bit about heritage cities as tourism destinations and how we've been working with partners to try to improve the accessibility and thereby to improve the resilience and the sustainability of cities and destinations. So I've just identified in this slide the three main challenges which really are for us to cater for the access requirements of those with, let's say, the highest demands, people who have disabilities, but also in effect, by doing so, by trying to cater for those with the highest demands, then the city and DMO managers will actually serve all tourists better. And I'll come to explain a little bit more about that later on. But developing accessible environments, facilities, transportation, services, and above all, information is crucial. We say information is the first barrier of accessibility, because if you can't find out how accessible a city is and whether it's accessible for you as a traveler, then you wouldn't even go there in the first place. And that's something that, we've been saying for many years, that in marketing your destination, information is the key. So reaching out to visitors on the very first look at your website, they have to be able to find accessibility information, because maybe just one person in the group that's traveling has an access need, but they often set the barrier or the bar for what everyone else can do, where they will stay and what they will experience on the trip. And of course, there are many mechanisms and means for improving accessibility, and making accessible routes in the city is one of the very first things that we recommend that a destination should do, and publish these routes and make sure that you've covered the access needs of all the visitors who you're trying to attract. And this is also a way of differentiating the marketing towards different groups, so that they don't all travel to the same place and don't all travel at the same time, perhaps. And also, of course, we'll touch on real-time data on tourist movements, which is an increasing trend amongst cities that have seen how technology can support their activities. I put on this slide also two logos for the Smart Tourism Capitals of Europe, which is a competition and an award scheme by a European Commission that's been running since 2018. And ENAT has been participating both as a judge and advisor to the jury in this program. And from this year on, it's called the European Capitals of Tourism, simple as that. But it still covers the four main areas that cities need to excel in. And these are on policies and practices in sustainability, in accessibility, digitalization, and cultural heritage. So all of those four things together are very important for how cities can develop with accessibility and to improve their attractiveness and how to manage the visitor flows. We've been involved in a project called Impact Tour, which was from 2020 to 2023, a Horizon Europe project, with the collaboration of Europa Nostra as one of the partners. And this project was about improving sustainable development policies and practices to access, diversify, and foster cultural tourism in European regions and areas. This was, a very much academically driven project, you might say. It was working with AI and with new algorithms for how to explore the strategies and practices of destinations. And we focused very much on small destinations. So not so many cities, but some cities were involved, 12 partners, 30 pilot destinations around Europe. And this was the basis for examining what kind of strategies destinations have. That we had to look at the threats, as we call them, posed by visitors to the cultural heritage and the communities that host tourist sites. Certainly there are threats, and we've heard about the negative impacts of over-tourism already today at one extreme, but also lack of tourists in smaller destinations or in faraway parts of a city from the centre. If there aren't enough tourists, if there isn't enough income coming in that direction, can also lead to neglect and decays. So we were trying to look at the ways of balancing through a scientific approach to gather information on visitor data and to develop this management tool to support the destination managers when maintaining cultural heritage sites to ensure the sustainability and accessibility for the benefit of all tourists and communities. The approach in brief here is to advance adapt a methodology to estimate the impact of cultural tourism on regional economic growth, combining data analytics and algorithms with machine learning and AI. We created a self-assessment tool for DMOs and city management managers, which enabled pilot sites or those who enter the platform can visualize their site by putting in some data. They input their data. There's a support system advising how to do that, and that will then produce a proposal for strategies and actions and a graphic representation. So it's a kind of a management tool that was developed through this project. I don't have time to go into all the details, but I should just tell you, if I can find the next slide. Yeah, some of the results, well, all of the results are on the website at impacttour.eu. So you can read these reports and get a lot of information about this project, which I think, although now it's a couple of years since it closed, it really set a benchmark for how to work with data and how to examine and manage visitor flows in a strategic way. So you can have these slides afterwards, of course. So I'll be passing them on. I want to talk a little bit before we finish about increasing awareness, skills and capacity building in the tourism sector related to accessibility. There is, I got a logo in the way of the text there, but it says UN Tourism Tourist Guides. So there is actually an ISO standard on accessible tourism for all. It's number 21902 from 2021. And because not many people buy standards, a lot of people don't know they exist actually, but it's the first time there's been a standard on accessible tourism. It's a very broad ranging standard covering all types of tourism, from cruises to adventure sports and all kinds of things. So the UN Tourism, who was sponsoring this standard, decided that we should produce some user guides, and these are free of charge. They're on our website at INAT. There are 6 user guides, and I just draw attention to some of them because we have these user guides are based on the standard, but not copying the standard. That's illegal. But they give recommendations for different kinds of actors in the tourism sector. So key recommendations for players in management of natural resources, recommendations for key players in the cultural tourism ecosystem. We have, next slide, we have requirements and recommendations for public administrations and tourism destinations. So here we are today, and also recommendations for accommodation, food and beverage and MICE sectors. So as I say, there are 6 of these guides, and we think they are very practical, very useful, short checklists and how to approach the problems. I'll also mention lastly that we are having a conference next week in Genoa on Friday at www.inclusivedestinations.org. This is a hybrid conference, free registration, so you can come to Genoa if you still can make it. And it's on inclusive and smart tourism destinations, strategies for innovation, where we will be presenting some of the cities that have won the Smart Tourism Capitals Award. Dubrovnik is there, and also I think we have a speaker from that. Is it Anna, who's coming from Dubrovnik today? She's going to be in Genoa next week. But also Tampere, which won the Smart Tourism Capital Award, and previous award winners from the cities, from the national tourist organizations that we work with, from the DMOs. So I hope that some of you can drop in there. You need to register to inclusivedestinations.org. It's an all-day conference on the 18th of June. Those are the partners and participants in the conference. So we're working with, again, we have a speaker from UN Tourism. Actually, Commissioner Tzitzikostas has just sent us his video where he's opening the conference. And we also have others from the UN Tourism, the EU Tourism Unit, and from the Disability Unit in the European Commission. So very interesting program for you, I hope. So that was just to tell you a little bit about what ENAT's been doing. And I just conclude with these last bullet points here. There is basically, very importantly, a lack of data on accessibility of cultural heritage sites and cities. And this is a significant gap that affects, of course, the visitor demand. As I say, people don't know where it's accessible for them to go. And on the supply side provisions as well, the management of accessibility by planning carefully and improvements is not very well developed. So what we need to do is to raise awareness, train city DMO managers on accessibility and inclusive service design. Why especially? Because those who are in the accessible tourism market, and the biggest part of the market is actually the senior age groups, not just people with disabilities, but those with all kinds of access needs when they're traveling. And the cultural tourism visitors, who make up a huge number of visitors, they travel year round and they tend to stay longer than the average visitor. They travel in larger groups. They often come back again and they spend more. So what's not to like about these travelers, these accessible tourism visitors? As a DMO city, you need to plan your accessibility improvements to support the sustainability in the environmental, social, and economic domains. And we have a lot of examples of good practice to share with you on these things. Most important is to start at the very beginning by carrying out access audits of all your services and facilities to see where you stand, and never forget to publish that accessibility information, because the smallest amount of what you can do and what you can't do is important for the visitors to know. Lastly, I just show a picture here because we had 43 wheelchair users visiting the Active Rehabilitation International organization that came to Athens in May last year. They wanted to ascend the Acropolis, of course, but that day the lift was broken. But we did have a very large group that came. This is with the Norwegian ambassador and one of the Norwegians in the wheelchair in the picture. For us, it's most important that we think in terms of universal design. Designing tourism accessible for all means environments, venues and services suitable for the widest range of customers, and ensuring equal opportunity for everyone to feel welcome and enjoy tourism experiences independently or together with others. After all, accessible tourism is just tourism. As a friend of ours, Peter Reisels, used to say, former accessibility information officer at Visit Flanders, we should leave no one behind. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Mr. Ambrose. A couple of photos of this presentation is in areas next to the building of Ελληνική Εταιρεία in Plaka. And this lift, there will be an interesting discussion about the lift in the Acropolis.
Yes, a long story. I know.
Yeah. Thank you very much for highlighting such a crucial dimension in historic areas. Our next guest joins us from a city that has been in the center of the global over-tourism debate. So we welcome Mrs. Anna Hernitz, if I'm right, head of the Department for Tourism and Sport of the city of Dubrovnik. Mr. Hernitz, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. Good to see you. So let me share my presentation, my screen. Can you see it? Is it okay?
Not yet.
Up, just 1 second.
Maybe I need to close.
No, you're okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Just a second, please. Oh.
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, how about now?
Yes.
Are you okay now?
Okay. You can use the full screen mode if you want. Control L, if I'm right.
Are we okay now? Do you see the full screen?
We are ready to go.
Okay, let's start then. So we have been mentioned a couple of times during the other presentations, so I can see that most of you are familiar with Dubrovnik and with the all the issues that we are facing and with all the things that we do in order to properly manage all the issues that we are all these days facing. So how it all started, you probably also heard. So basically from 2017 till today, many things luckily changed. In 2017, Dubrovnik became a global symbol of over-tourism. And today, on our great luck, is internationally recognized as one of Europe's leading examples of sustainable tourism. Governance in a historic city. Rapid tourism growth, of course, created severe pressure from cruise congestion to overcrowding, traffic bottlenecks, resident dissatisfaction, of course, and the end degradation of visitor experience. Many international media in that time listed Dubrovnik among destinations to avoid due to overcrowding. You can see here on the presentation photos of how that looked like back in 2017. This is when we realized that the issue was not simply about the number of visitors, but about the management of visitors' flow. In 2017, Dubrovnik launched the multidisciplinary strategic project called Respect the City. Main objectives of the project were to protect cultural heritage, to improve quality of life for residents, to improve visitor experience, and of course to introduce sustainable tourism governance. Dubrovnik finally shifted from reactive tourism management to proactive and data-driven destination management. One of the biggest problems of that time and one of the first things that we did within the Respect the City project was the cruise tourism management, because as you know, many tourists from the cruise ships which were coming in a very short periods of time really created a huge flows of people which were not properly handled. So the first step actually was to establish a very good and very strong cooperation between CLIA, between the Port Authority of Dubrovnik, City of Dubrovnik, and of course police authorities. It is very important to mention that without all of these parties would be impossible for us to do any kind of change. We really had great cooperation, which continues, of course, until today, and hopefully will last in future as well, because everybody realized that the problem is not only ours, but that actually we share this problem and that we need to find solutions together. Measures that were introduced are one of the main measures, maximum of 2 cruise ships at the same time. And what is also maybe even more important, a minimum 8-hour stay policy, because that way the flows and the numbers of people can be properly managed. We used to have situations when we had, I don't know, 5 ships at the same time, and some of them were staying like for 4 hours, so that was impossible to manage. Now this way we can really say that we found a good formula to manage those flows properly. We also created new docking schedules, we coordinated arrival management, and include the cruise taxes and the new regulations. We also adapted the key strategic documents which were established for sustainable tourism governance and carrying capacity management. First one was the UNESCO World Heritage Management Plan and Dubrovnik Carrying Capacity Management Plan. Building on these frameworks, the city developed a comprehensive system of smart and data-driven solutions for managing visitors' flow, reducing congestion, protecting cultural heritage, and of course, improving quality of life for residents. We shifted the focus from tourism growth toward long-term sustainability, balanced development, and responsible management. Some very important things that we did were some smart smart city and digital tools. We developed an integrated ecosystem of digital tools for sustainable tourism management and protection of its UNESCO World Heritage Site. So we developed Dubrovnik Visitors, Dubrovnik Pass, which used to be Dubrovnik Card, now is completely switched into an electronic mode, so it's called Dubrovnik Pass. Since last year, special traffic regulation zone, bus web shop, smart parking, and now in progress, hopefully starting from next year, park and ride system. The goal is, of course, to manage visitors flows, to reduce congestion, and to improve quality of life for residents and visitors. The visitor flow I'm mentioning all the time, but that was the key. When we look at 2017 and when we compare the numbers that we used to have then with numbers that we have now, we can see that these numbers have even increased, but with a better flow and with a better time management within a year, within a month, within a day, finally. To support carrying capacity policies and to improve visitors management, we introduced advanced digital tools based on real-time data, predictive analytics, and smart destination management. So the Dubrovnik Visitors monitors real-time visitors' movements. It can, based on information that it collects from different sources, it predicts crowd system and forecasts this conjunction days and hours based on, as I mentioned, many information collected from different sources. Dubrovnik Pass, I have already mentioned, it is an integrated smart tourism platform connecting Dubrovnik's key cultural attractions, public transportation, and digital visitor management tools within a single system. And this system helps us to disperse visitors more evenly across the destination, to reduce overcrowding at the most sensitive heritage sites, such as the Dubrovnik city walls, for example, to manage visitor flows in accordance with the carrying capacity limits, to improve the quality and safety of the visitor experience, and to generate, of course, revenue for heritage preservation and cultural institutions. The newest phase now, the Dubrovnik Pass is a project which will last already for years, but every year it is being somehow upgraded with some new tools and with some new solutions. Newest phase of the Dubrovnik Pass introduced advanced smart management tools, including real-time monitoring of occupancy level at cultural sites. So you can see not only the real time, but you can also see the predictive analytics and crowd forecasting. So that way you can plan your visit with all the information needed in order to avoid crowds. Reservation management for organized groups, which are mandatory from this year for the museums, the digital control of carrying capacities at heritage attractions. So this all enables Dubrovnik to move from reactive tourism management towards protective and data-driven protection of the UNESCO World Heritage Site. In all historic cities, I believe, and this is the case also in Dubrovnik, especially because Dubrovnik is geographically very small and the infrastructure we have is not actually created for such a big number of cars and for such heavy traffic. So we had really issues with the tourism pressure in terms of traffic. So we introduced the smart mobility and traffic management tools in order to regulate vehicle access, to reduce congestion around the city, the historic core, and to support more sustainable movements of both residents and visitors. So I mentioned the special traffic regulation zone, which we started with last year, and this is the second year. This shows really amazing results. And it will be continued, of course. Bus web shop reservation system, also one very helpful tool. Smart parking system, park and ride project, and public transportation integration. All of this really brought us many very measurable results. So, for example, GSTC sustainability score, which it was 70% in 2019, so 2 years after the start of implementation of the Respect the City project, and in 2023 it was 86%. The results about the Dubrovnik Pass, so nearly 500,000 passes were sold in 2025. Which generated over 20 million euro, and all these revenues are reinvested into heritage and culture. Regarding the cultural impact, we can see the visit to museums and galleries increased by 46% between 2023 and 2025. So we can say that we successfully stabilized tourism flows, we reduced congestions, we improved visitors' experience, protected heritage, and improved residents' quality of life. So we are happy with the all things that we did and with the all results we have achieved, but of course this is a process which is happening all the time, every day, and it's something that really needs to be monitored, applied on basically on daily basis. New decisions must be made all the time. Everything needs to be really monitored, and we have to be proactive in order to maintain the situation as it is now, or even better, of course. Always things can be done even better. Thank you all for your attention. I will be available for questions further on.
Thank you, Mrs. Hernitz, for showing us how a world-class destination can strategically manage visitor flows. Our final speaker for this session is Mrs. Barbara Montagnier Vega, Head of Marketing, Communication and Visitor Experience at Park GEL, who will talk about the park's management model. Mrs. Montagnier Vega, we look forward to your presentation.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
How are you? Thank you for this interesting presentation.
Mrs. Hernitz, can you please stop sharing the presentation? Ms. Hernitz?
Sorry, I lost you for a second time.
Yes, please stop sharing the presentation.
Sorry. Sorry, thank you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for your presentation. It's a pleasure to be here today with you. And thank you for the invitation. I'm representing Parkway today. I'm going to share my screen.
You can use full screen mode if you want.
Okay. Just a second.
It's Control L. Or you can use the...
Can you see it now?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to introduce the Parkway management model in Barcelona. I don't know if you've been there, or if you know it. Okay, let me see why it's not working that. So I'm going to share, first of all, a little bit of the context of this park. The project started in 19th century. Then 1914, the completion of works were done, and in 1926, the parkway was owned by the city council. So it was bought to this private family, the Well family. And in 1984, Parkway is recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Why it's not working? Sorry. Let me see what is going on. Now, in 1992, as you might know, Barcelona becomes a highly popular tourist destination thanks to the Olympic Games. And the growth the growth of that tourism starts to have consequences. In example, we have this attack or this vandalization of the Dragon in 2002. And from that moment, the City Council starts to study ways to regulating the access to Parkway, because Parkway is more than a monument, it's also a natural park, and it provides connectivity between neighborhoods, including a school and a home, a private home that is inside the park. So in 2013, the City Council decided to opt for limited regulation. The limited access was applied only to the main heritage area, which is painted in blue, as you can see, is the Plaza de la Natura, the nature square, and all the stairs and the dragon, and a little bit more is like 1.5 hectares. But this evolution and these new rules to enter the park reduced the pressure, but it wasn't enough. Despite all the efforts, certain problems were still being detected, like the overcrowding and mobility problems around Parkway in the environment, the street vending and silly behavior, like crossing those paths or vandalism. So local residents claimed that they have lost their sense of belonging to the park. The coexistence difficulties with the overcrowding, as we saw in other cities, no, like Dubrovnik that we saw before, with local residents was like extremely with high pressure with the tourism. These intense flows in the various types of public transport near the park also made this coexistence very difficult, and the vandalism. So we changed the regulation model, and currently, since 2020s, we have another. We expanded. We will see it now. The regulation model based in 3 cornerstones. I'm going back because I want to show you our mission, that is to manage and preserve the architectural and natural heritage of the entire parkway, with this excellence guaranteeing a high quality experience for local residents, park users, and tourists. The income from regulating this tourism has been used to carry out refurbishments of and maintenance work on both the natural and the architectural heritage, and to take more action in relation to the surrounding areas. As I was saying just a minute ago, this current regulation model is based on 3 cornerstones: the safe and high quality visits, an inclusive park for residents and visitors, and a park that is in line with responsible environmental sustainability goals. The first one, the safe and high quality visits, is the new management throughout the park and during all opening hours. We have this surface area that now is regulated 12 hectares instead of 1.5, and the opening hours went from 8 to 9:30 to 7 to 10 p.m. The entrances are located at the original 9 physical gates. As you can see, this is all the part that it's 19 hectares, and it's the regulation is 12 with the natural physical gates. These safe and high quality visits also are currently regulated by visitors' flows. The management of visitors' numbers are the maximum flow of 1,400 visitors hours. So we know always how many people there are, and the 50% of reduction in the maximum impact of total visitor capacity with regarding the historical numbers, that it was studied that 9 million per year were entering the parkway when it was not regulated, and we went to 4.5 million a year. So it's the half. The creation of a high concentration area, the postal room and the stairway, and also the nature square, it was this creation regulated, we expanded it so people can go around all the park. The promotion of the entry time slots, the flow staggered by time slots spread out over the whole day in slots of 30 minutes, and the staggered arrival of visitor flows. Sorry, this goes too fast. So it reduced the mass access. The improved experience and learning for visitors with guided tours. We have a school program. We have our own app, outreach initiatives, and cultural activities committed to the local area. Then an inclusive park for residents and visitors is the second pillar, promoting free access for local residents. The local resident card for 6 adjacent neighborhoods. They can enter the park at any hour, and they can enter the park by any entrance. We have our own cultural program for them, and the Parkway dialogues, summer music program, activities with local schools, etc. There are for them, and exclusive time slots for those Barcelona residents and 6 adjacent neighborhoods that are the environs of the park. We call it Bon Dia Barcelona, which means good morning Barcelona. From 9:30, they have this exclusive time for them. And Bon Vespre Barcelona from 8 to 10 p.m. That it's the translation is Good Evening Barcelona, and it's also an exclusive time slot for Barcelona residents. The distribution of entrance gates is the implementation of these shared gates, and the implementation also of exclusive gates for residents, increasing the entrance fluidity for residents. A part that is in line with responsible environmental sustainability goals, we are working in conservation and renovation of the unique architectural heritage, as you can see. How it was and how is it now. This is the bench of the Natura Square. Because we have a financial return model, the revenue from visitors is returned to the park, making various conservation and renovation projects possible, as well as the dissemination of both the natural and monumental heritage, along with other activities linked to the neighborhood around the park, like football or soccer stadium or etc. Preserving Parkway's environmental value, as it's the third largest park in the city, an essential green area for the quality of city life. Where are we today? Parkway is a consolidated global landmark, but now it needs to evolve its model to remain a sustainable and distinctive landmark. It needs to evolve towards a more experiential, cultural, sustainable model connected to its environs. As we said before, this coexistence for us is really, really important with our neighborhood, and we are doing a lot of outreach activities for them. Also, this year is the centenary of Parkway as a public space, because it was bought to this private family. So we are celebrating, and also is, as you might know, is Any Gaudí. So we have a lot to celebrate in 2026. And with increasingly discerning visitors, and every time with more knowledge and more exigent, these visitors and citizens, the park's future does not only depend on its heritage, it also depends on the experiences we create. And also we think that the customer experience, it's fundamental. And where we are headed, we are transforming park that constantly evolves. We are a more experiential park for the neighborhood. We are promoting cultural activities and the Gaudí Year. We made an Easter egg exhibition, Liceo concerts, Escolania, Choir, La Merced events that are just for local and residents, and new museology for Gaudí House Museum, management of the Porter's Lodge, and experiential change. And we have some projects that we are going to promote to make this happen. Also an exhibition where we had a particular UNESCO World Heritage Site with continuously improving management. Also with the heritage, we are going to study the dragon because we think that we have to see how it was like in this origin, in their origins. Sanitation and irrigation projects, better lighting, and installation of 5G and Wi-Fi network. If we want to have more experiential and technology in the park, we have to invest in that. Always having the heritage, knowing that the heritage site is very important, and structural works. So we are improving and renovating pavements and other projects and works that are always on. And finally, the conclusion is that we are working towards being a leading example in managing a space for harmonious and coexistence of visitors, residents, and park users, that they have to live together, because Parkway is this heritage site, but they have their neighborhoods. We were talking before about gentrification. I think that this is going on in every city right now, and we are trying to have a sustainable value proposition with positive impact on the region and the community to reinforce the connection between Parkway and the city. And we would like to promote Parkway's natural and architectural heritage locally and internationally, but without damaging our neighborhood. And thank you for your attention. I think I've been short enough.
Yeah, thank you very much, and thanks very much to all of our speakers for their excellent presentations and for respecting the time limits so perfectly. We have journeyed from the Greek reality in Plaka and Corfu to tangible European examples of sustainability in Valencia, Dubrovnik, Barcelona. And we now open the floor to the audience for the next 15 to 20 minutes. We have already received several targeted questions through the registration form, which I will begin addressing to our speakers, while the audience can also request to speak or drop new questions to the chat. To start off, we have a question regarding cruise ship tourism and its specific impacts on small communities. So I would like to ask our speakers from Corfu and Dubrovnik how local communities can best react to this pressure. Mr. Triados?
I'm here. Okay. What was the other question about?
What about cruise ships and how we can manage the flows of the cruise ships? And is there a problem in Corfu?
There is. There is a problem. The main conclusion is that the cruise tourism brings economic benefits, but also creates intense peak pressures. We have large numbers of visitors arriving in our town within a few hours. That's
Does the municipality has a plan for managing these flows?
No. Right now it has not, and we as citizens, we press our municipality to take measures against this very high pressure we have every day, almost every day. Corfu is a town with about 40,000 people, and there are days that the tourists from cruise are even 15,000 within 6 hours. You understand that this is more than 30% of the population of Corfu. Of course, there are, as I told before, the economic benefits, but there isn't enough infrastructure to support all these people. It's a problem that we're trying to manage, but it's not easy to do that. We're a small community, and it's not a matter of being against or being for. We go back to carrying capacity again. We have to manage all this situation. And unfortunately, in our town, the political parties do not take any measure to prevent the town from all this situation.
Thank you very much, Nikos. Ms. Hernitz, what about Dubrovnik? Do you have a management plan about the flows from the cruise ships?
Yes, I have already mentioned that during my presentation. So since the introduction of the Respect the City project, which was in 2017, the first real measures that were taken were in 2019, when we have adopted the rule that not more than 2 cruise ships at the same time, or more than 4,000 people at the same time cannot be accepted in Dubrovnik. And since then, and as I mentioned before, the minimum stay is 8 hours. So 8+ hours, which is very important for us in order to organize the arrivals within a day. So since then, I can say that everything is functioning very well. Before that, we really had a very unsatisfied local people, of course, who were very much annoyed, I would say, with all the mess that we had in space, in traffic, especially, of course, within the old city. And nowadays, I can say that we really do not have any kind of dissatisfaction, because people are aware that cruise ships, of course, benefit a lot to our local economy, but when they are managed and handled in a proper way. When a ship is staying in Dubrovnik for 8 hours and longer, we can manage those visitors flows to the city, but also they have a time and they have opportunity to buy excursions which take them a little bit outside of the city. So that way we achieved not only the time dispersion, but also the space dispersion, because not all of them, when we had ships that were staying here, let's say for 4 hours, they didn't have time to go anywhere else, but only in the old town. When we applied this new rule for minimum stay of 8 hours, now they have time, to go visit some places around Dubrovnik as well, and then come back to the city, because you have people, of course, who already have been to Dubrovnik and they want to see something else, not only the old town. So I can say that this is at the moment managed really properly, and we are very grateful to CLIA and to our port authorities who understood our situation, who understood that we have a problem, and that the only way how we can handle it is to work together and to manage all those flows, because otherwise we would have unsatisfied visitors, unsatisfied local people. So altogether it was a problem. What we also did is we offered the shuttle buses, which are done by our city traffic company. from the port to the city on a special line, which is only allowed, the traffic line, which is only allowed for the local buses to use. So that way we also managed to reduce the number of buses, exactly the number of the intensity of traffic, which also gave great measures. So I can say that at the moment, really, we did a good job with the cruise ships, and I don't think they are an issue in terms of crowds and over tourism anymore. We need to continue, of course, to go in that way. At the moment, I would say that for us, bigger problem are sounds bad, not bigger problem, but the issue are the daily visitors which arrive from other destinations, especially, for example, during the season when you have bad weather, then people from everywhere else, from all other places around Dubrovnik, are coming to the city, and those visitors, especially if they are individuals, not group arrivals, it's hard to predict, it's hard to measure, because there is no way to predict. Yeah, so this is something now what we are working on, and the park and ride system, which I mentioned before, will help us definitely in future to reduce those issues as well.
Thank you, Mrs. Jerns. Are there any questions from the audience? No. Mr. Gomez Ferrer Bayo and Ms. Vega. Another critical point raised by the audience is urban neglect. How can tourism, in your opinion, serve as a catalyst for upgrading these historic areas and improving the quality of life rather than degrading them?
The problem of the big city, the central core of the city, is this mixture between the normal life, the administrative life. For example, in the central part of the city is the municipality, town hall, the government of the region, the parliament, a lot of ministries, regional ministries that are mixed with this flow, a touristic flow that comes and don't understand anything. These people can understand in 2 or 3 or 6 hours the real life of a big complex city. So the proposal is that in this case we can make small groups to go in a particular place. For example, the activity of the museum is very important. The activity of the, for example, the Silk Museum or the Ceramic Museum in Spain is located in Valencia, are parts of the culture of the city that can be understood, but not the complex of the city. And the problem is to prepare these groups coming, especially from the tourists or from cruises that arrives in only half a day to go and go back. Because it's different, the problem of this kind of people, of the people who make the tourist alone or in a small group. And the problem is that all the revenues, all the taxes that are coming from the tourists must be put in benefit of the local people he lives. They live in the central part of the city. That is a problem, but it is very different. The problem of Corfu, Dubrovnik, or for example, the Alhambra in Granada, or Well, or some of these monuments, at the complexity of a big city when the Central Park is a part very used by all the city. And that is the problem, to this kind of mixture that makes strange for the life in the past years. For example, for me, 30 or 40 years ago, I can't understand how works the city now. There is no more stores, classic stores or historical stores or magazines, and there is only a city that has the same type of local establishment as in other cities. For example, I was in Wien. I was in Wien when I was young, and was in the Kernerstrasse. That was the principal street in Wien. And 40 or 50 years ago, after I go there, I can't find any memory of this street. This is nothing. It's any interest. And this is the big problem is to stop the change of this kind of stores, this kind of magazines,
The land
this
use
kind
transformation
of mixture.
because of tourism.
Yes. It's terrible.
Thank you.
Miltiades, may I say something?
Ms. Vega, before you, Ms.
Yes.
Maestro.
Yes.
Sorry. I agree with Mr. Gomez Ferrer, Bayo, my colleague.
Hello.
Hello. I didn't know Valencia was here today.
Yeah, you know well. Problem, eh?
So yeah, I think the same. I think that we have to protect, but also we have to look for the balance. No, this balance between the residents and the visitors. We can say no to tourism because we need the tourism, and Spain is a touristic place. All Spain, I think. And we need the tourism, but also we have to prevent this kind of users. Yes, we have to protect the local charismatic and this difference, no, because we are living in a global world, and if we don't take care of these differences between us, we are going to lose them. This is my humble opinion.
Sure. Thank you.
Ms. Vega. Ms. Maestro?
Yes. First of all, I want to thank all our guests because we heard very interesting points about the subject of tourism. Alvaro, I think you have the biggest experience. I just wanted to propose something. It's not a question about the cruise. I think that we should measure the economic benefits depending on the tourism of cruise, because I am not sure that we have really good economic benefits. Instead, maybe they just buy a Coca-Cola, they just buy an ice cream, and then they leave. So we should measure how many hours they stay there and where they move and what they buy. Because except what they buy, they leave garbage to their place.
The externalities, economic externalities.
Yes. Just this question, because I think it would be interesting.
Interesting to measure what actually cruise ships offer to a place.
Exactly. Yes. From the economic point.
From economic point of view.
Yes. Thank you, Miltiades.
Mr. Ambrose, what forms of governance are needed between central government and local cultural associations to secure their long-term sustainability?
Right. Well, very good question. I think that really what we're looking for, we've developed a document which we call the Accessible Tourism Destination Management Guide for Turismo de Portugal, the tourist board in Portugal. That was a few years ago now. And we looked at this from as we often do, we take a sort of helicopter view of the destination and then the perspective on accessibility, which reveals very much about the way people and departments in a city are working together or not. It's very important for the city to have an integrated management system because especially in accessibility, as we say, a chain is only as strong as the weakest link. And if one accessibility link is missing, if you can't board a passenger bus because you're a wheelchair user, or if you can't read the signage because it's written in very small writing, or the signs are not placed in the right place, that's the missing link for you. So what we have to think about is ensuring that all parts of the municipality, the city, are coordinating and working together to work towards a good experience for the visitor and also under a general management plan. And I think that's what's demonstrated by those award-winning cities that I talked about from the EU Smart Tourism Capital Awards. And I could take the example just to finish with on this point. The city of Dublin, which won the award a couple of years ago, was awarded because they worked very hard on the 4 criteria, the 4 areas, and they worked hard. They were a very small team of just 3 people in the destination marketing office of Dublin, but they went round to all the city departments and said, "We want to win this award, and how are you going to help us to do that?" So they had to work on sustainability, accessibility, digitalization, and cultural heritage, and work together, share information from all those departments, and find out what they could do to work together. So I suppose that's a very pragmatic model for working together. And in this case, they positioned it as, we want to win the award and increase the attractiveness and the visibility of Dublin as a city for visitors. But in fact, by attempting to win the award, they also won a lot of visitors, and the right kind of visitors as well.
Thank you very much. Ms. Busdeki, how can we attract investments into local communities without displacing permanent residents?
It is really difficult question. I'm not sure I have the exact answer because it seems like there is a tendency, if we attract a little investments, then more and more and more and more. So I'm not sure I have the exact
answer. Let me rephrase the question. In what way land uses affects permanent citizens, and how can we preserve these land uses, the original land uses, to preserve the citizens living in historic centers?
I think this is a few policies that maybe protect this is for sure a guarantee of a mixed use, that of a mix of residential, commercial, educational in the centers. So for sure, land uses and rules of land uses may be a good policy. Also, impose restrictions on platforms or in investments. So there is a limit, maybe. I think these are policies that maybe reduce the impacts of this phenomenon.
Thank you very much. Are there any further questions? I believe they are not. So, as we conclude today's highly productive meetup, I would like to thank you all for being here with us today. I would like to thank our speakers for their valuable insights, and of course, I would like to thank Anastasia Manatidou our Anastasia, who organized, along with Eleni Maestru, this meetup. And have a wonderful rest of the day. Thank you very much for being here with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much.
Miltiadis.
Thank
Thank
you.
everybody. Thank everybody.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.